Most men over 70 think their body is betraying them, that age alone is the reason their performance has faded. But what if I told you, it's not your body at all? It's the medical system. Specifically, the tests your doctor keeps ordering, the ones that are supposed to protect you, might be quietly destroying your erections. In this video, we'll uncover 5 medical tests every man over 70 should start questioning, not to reject medicine, but to understand how to protect your manhood while staying healthy. So if you care about keeping your drive, your confidence, and your vitality, stay with me till the end. The routine blood test that silently lowers testosterone. Every man over 70 has heard it. Let's run your routine blood tests, just to make sure everything's fine. It sounds harmless, in fact, it sounds responsible. But here's what very few doctors explain: those routine blood tests can sometimes set off a silent chain reaction that gradually drains your energy, crushes your drive, and lowers your testosterone without you even realizing it. Let's start with something simple. When you go in for a blood test, you're usually told to fast overnight, no food, no water. But fasting too long, or arriving dehydrated, can cause temporary drops in plasma volume, which makes your testosterone levels appear lower than they really are. That's because testosterone binds to a protein called sex hormone binding globulin SHBG, and dehydration skews that ratio. The result? Your doctor might see low testosterone on paper and recommend treatment or medication changes you don't even need. Now, here's where it gets worse. Those same blood tests often include cholesterol and liver panels. When even one number looks a little off, many physicians are quick to prescribe statins, drugs designed to lower cholesterol. And while statins do help protect the heart, research from Harvard Medical School 2017, Boston, USA found that long-term statin use can suppress testosterone production by interfering with cholesterol synthesis, the very foundation from which testosterone is made. Think about that for a moment. Testosterone is built from cholesterol. So when your medication aggressively blocks cholesterol, it's not just lowering a number, it's lowering your life force. Men often report subtle changes first: fatigue that creeps in around midday, a sudden dip in motivation, or that slow disappearance of morning energy that used to come naturally. Over months, that becomes a decline in sexual desire, muscle tone, and mental clarity. And yet, all of it starts with a simple test result. A test that led to a prescription. A prescription that slowly began shutting down the very system that keeps you alive and virile. The solution isn't to skip your tests, it's to ask better questions. Before you roll up your sleeve, ask, why are we running this test today? What will this number actually change in my treatment? And most importantly, how often do I really need this? Because too much testing doesn't always mean better health. Sometimes, it means more unnecessary medication, more hormonal disruption, and less vitality. The truth is, numbers don't tell the whole story. They can make you look normal on paper while quietly draining the man you used to be. And while the blood test may lower your testosterone indirectly, the next medical test on this list doesn't just affect hormones, it can permanently damage the delicate nerve pathways that make erections possible. Let's talk about that next. The overused PSA test that quietly destroys nerve health. Every man over 70 has heard of the PSA test, the prostate-specific antigen test. It's one of the most common medical checks for older men, and on the surface, it sounds like the responsible thing to do. After all, no one wants to ignore prostate health. But here's the uncomfortable truth most men never hear: overtesting your PSA levels can be more dangerous than skipping it altogether. Let's break that down. The PSA test measures a protein that the prostate naturally produces. As men age, the prostate naturally enlarges, and PSA levels gradually rise, even in completely healthy men. But because doctors often use a single cutoff number to define what's normal, thousands of men every year are told their PSA is too high when in reality, it's perfectly fine for their age. What happens next is where things start to go wrong. That one elevated result sets off a chain reaction: another test, another referral, and soon, a prostate biopsy. That one elevated result sets off a chain reaction: another test, another referral, and soon a prostate biopsy. Now, biopsies are useful when cancer is truly suspected, but when done unnecessarily, they can cause bleeding, inflammation, and, worst of all, nerve damage to the very fibers that control erections. Here's the science behind it. Running along both sides of your prostate are tiny nerve bundles responsible for controlling blood flow and sensitivity in your lower region. These are the same nerves that help you achieve and maintain an erection. During invasive procedures like biopsies or unnecessary treatments, these nerves can be damaged, sometimes permanently. And this isn't just speculation. A 2019 study from Johns Hopkins University, Baltimore, USA, revealed that up to 40% of men who underwent unnecessary prostate procedures following false positive PSA results reported new or worsened erectile dysfunction within the first year. 40%. Not because of disease, but because of detection gone too far. Here's the part that's truly heartbreaking: many of these men were perfectly healthy before their test. Their only mistake was trusting a system that values numbers over understanding. Now, does that mean you should never take a PSA test? Absolutely not. It means you should take it with context. Ask your doctor about trends, not snapshots. If your PSA has been slowly rising over years, that's very different from a sudden sharp increase. And always ask, is this rise dangerous, or is it just age-related? You can also protect your prostate naturally by maintaining healthy zinc levels, staying hydrated, managing inflammation with foods like tomatoes and green tea, and avoiding unnecessary stress, which directly affects prostate health. Your goal isn't to avoid testing. It's to avoid the trap of overtesting, where a single number turns into a lifetime of side effects. Because once those delicate nerves are damaged, it's not just about erections, it's about the loss of sensation, confidence, and connection. But the next test on this list goes even deeper. It's not just about hormones or nerves, it can retrain your body to fear intimacy itself. And it happens in a place most men never expect: the heart monitor room. The overdone heart stress test that weakens your drive. When you reach your 70s, every doctor's visit starts to sound the same. Let's check your heart, just to be safe. It's said with care, and it's absolutely understandable. Heart disease is serious. But there's a hidden side to all those heart stress tests that few men ever talk about, and even fewer doctors ever explain. Here's what really happens. A heart stress test, whether it's on a treadmill, with injected medication, or through imaging, is designed to see how your heart performs under pressure. It sounds wise in theory. But here's where things get tricky. When you go through multiple heart stress tests each year, doctors often err on the side of overcaution. Even the slightest irregularity can lead to an aggressive prescription plan, typically beta blockers or ACE inhibitors, drugs meant to lower blood pressure and heart rate. And that's where the hidden cost begins. Because while these medications protect your heart, they can quietly drain your desire and destroy your performance. Here's why: erections depend on strong responsive blood flow, the same kind of blood flow your heart needs. But beta blockers work by slowing your heart rate, reducing adrenaline, and lowering the pressure in your arteries. When blood pressure drops too low, your body's ability to pump blood efficiently to smaller vessels, including those that control erections, also drops. It's a trade-off no one warns you about. You save your heart but lose your fire. And there's a psychological toll too. Many men are told to avoid strain or keep calm after heart evaluations, subconsciously linking physical excitement or intimacy with risk or danger. Over time, this conditioning makes you fear your own body's response. You start avoiding the very moments that once made you feel alive. Now, does this mean you should refuse a heart test? No, absolutely not. Heart monitoring is vital when truly necessary. But it's about how often and how it's followed up. A 2021 study from the Cleveland Clinic, USA, found that nearly one-third of men over 65 were placed on long-term beta blockers after a single borderline stress test result, even when no heart disease was confirmed. Many of these men reported lower libido, fatigue, and a loss of morning erections within months. The fix isn't to fear your doctor, it's to start a conversation. Ask, is this medication permanent or temporary? Are there lifestyle changes I can try first? Can we monitor my blood pressure naturally before adding more drugs? Simple questions can prevent long-term consequences. Because sometimes, what your heart needs most isn't another pill, it's oxygen, movement, and confidence. Remember this: your heart and your sexual health are not enemies, they're twins. When one thrives, the other follows. The goal isn't to weaken one to save the other, it's to strengthen both through smarter, more personalized care. But while heart tests can train your body to fear arousal, the next test doesn't stop at the surface. It reaches deeper, into your body's cells, your hormones, even your brain chemistry. And it's often repeated far more than it should be. Let's talk about the hidden side of a test men do regularly, and how they might be silently stealing your energy from the inside out. Before we continue, if you're finding this eye-opening, take 1 second right now and subscribe to this channel. Go ahead, hit that button, and let's uncover the truth about the next medical test you need to question. MRI scans and radiation exposure, the hidden hormone disruptor. Modern medicine is built on technology, and no test represents that better than the MRI or CT scan. These machines can see what the human eye can't. They find tumors, detect clots, and reveal what's hidden beneath the surface. They save lives every single day. But here's the truth that's rarely discussed: repeated exposure to scans, especially when unnecessary, can quietly disrupt the balance of your hormones and accelerate the very decline you're trying to prevent. Let's start with the basics. An MRI itself doesn't use radiation, it uses magnetic fields. But many older men are sent for CT scans, bone scans, and contrast-enhanced MRIs several times a year. These exposures may seem harmless in isolation, but over time, they increase oxidative stress, a buildup of unstable molecules that attack healthy cells, including the ones in your testicles that produce testosterone. Your body's defense against this oxidative stress weakens with age. When those defenses drop, testosterone-producing Leydig cells become more vulnerable. Over months or years, that leads to lower testosterone output, more fatigue, and weaker recovery after physical activity. Then there's the issue of contrast dyes, the liquid injected into your bloodstream before certain imaging scans to help doctors see blood vessels and organs more clearly. These dyes are processed through your liver and kidneys, both of which play a major role in hormone metabolism. When contrast dyes are used repeatedly, especially in older adults with slower kidney function, they can cause low-grade inflammation that subtly interferes with how your body clears and balances hormones. A 2020 study from the University of California, San Diego, found that men who underwent more than 5 contrast-based imaging procedures within 2 years showed significantly higher levels of oxidative markers and lower free testosterone, compared to men who had fewer than 2 scans. The researchers concluded that repeated exposure contributes to cumulative metabolic stress, meaning your cells are constantly fighting to stay balanced. And that constant fight doesn't just affect your lab results, it affects how you feel. You might notice it as slower muscle recovery, lower mood, loss of motivation, or a quiet disinterest in intimacy. The kind that sneaks up gradually until you can't even remember when it started. Now, of course, medical imaging has a purpose, and when it's necessary, it's life-saving. The key word is necessary. Before agreeing to another scan, ask your doctor, what are we looking for this time? Is this test monitoring progress, or just repeating the last result? Are there safer alternatives, like an ultrasound or MRI without contrast? Protecting your body doesn't mean rejecting technology, it means using it wisely. Every scan should answer a question, not create another risk. Because here's what many men don't realize: your hormonal system is like an orchestra. If one instrument is thrown off tune by stress, inflammation, or chemical exposure, the entire performance suffers. And for men over 70, even a small disruption in hormone balance can lead to big changes in strength, stamina, and sexual health. So before you agree to that follow-up scan, pause for a moment. Ask the right questions. Because sometimes, the bravest thing you can do for your health is to slow down and think before saying yes. And while imaging tests can drain your body's chemistry slowly, the next one on our list does something far more subtle. It doesn't involve needles, radiation, or machines. It happens quietly, right in your doctor's office, and it can dismantle your manhood one prescription at a time. Let's talk about the annual medication review, and how it becomes one of the most common traps for men over 70. It starts innocently enough. You walk into your doctor's office for your yearly checkup. They open your chart, glance over your medications, and say something like, "Let's just review your prescriptions and make sure you're still taking everything correctly." You nod. It feels routine, safe. But what happens in that quiet 10-minute review could be the most damaging moment of your year. Here's why. Most men over 70 are on 3, 5, sometimes even 10 medications at once. Blood pressure pills, cholesterol drugs, antidepressants, blood thinners, each one may serve a purpose. But together, they form what doctors call polypharmacy, the combined use of multiple drugs that interact with each other in ways the body can't fully predict. And among those interactions hides the silent killer of men's vitality, erectile dysfunction caused by medication overload. Let's look at how it happens. Blood pressure medications, especially beta blockers and certain diuretics, reduce blood flow to prevent strain on the heart. But erections rely on the opposite, strong responsive blood circulation. Antidepressants, especially SSRIs, interfere with dopamine and serotonin balance, two neurotransmitters that directly control desire, excitement, and climax. Cholesterol drugs, while protecting the arteries, lower coenzyme Q10, a nutrient that fuels every cell's energy production and supports testosterone synthesis. And even over-the-counter pills like antihistamines or sleep aids can dull the nervous system just enough to blunt physical sensitivity. Individually, each side effect seems minor. Together, they quietly dismantle the foundation of male vitality. Research from the University of Oxford, 2022 UK, revealed that men taking 5 or more prescription medications daily were 4 times more likely to experience moderate to severe erectile dysfunction, even when accounting for age, diabetes, or lifestyle factors. The study concluded that the interaction between drugs was a synergistic suppressor of blood flow and hormonal function. In simple terms, it's not just one pill doing the damage, it's the combination. The tragedy is that most men never realize what's happening. They think age is to blame. They accept it. Meanwhile, the solution could be as simple as a conversation. Before you renew your prescriptions, ask your doctor, which of these medications can affect my testosterone or sexual performance? Are there alternatives, lifestyle changes, or dosage adjustments we can explore? Can we test to see if I still need every one of these drugs? You'll be surprised how often medications linger long after the original problem is gone. Sometimes, your blood pressure improved, your cholesterol normalized, but the pill never left the list. Your goal isn't to fight medicine, it's to take ownership of it. Because your health shouldn't be managed passively. It should be led by you, guided by information, awareness, and balance. Men who live longest aren't the ones on the most medication, they're the ones who understand what they're taking and why. And that's the message of this entire video. The truth is, many medical tests after 70 are valuable, but only when used wisely. When done automatically, without questions, they can drain your energy, lower your testosterone, and quietly destroy the very spark that makes you feel alive. Your erections, your confidence, and your vitality aren't just signs of aging. They're signs of how well your body is being respected, nourished, and understood. So the next time you sit across from your doctor, remember this: you're not just a patient, you're a participant. Ask questions, challenge routine, protect your balance. Because the difference between decline and strength after 70 isn't genetics, it's awareness. If this opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Tap that like button if you learned something new today. Share this video with another man who deserves to know the truth about his health. And if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel and turn on notifications, so you never miss the kind of science-backed life-changing health information most men will never hear in a doctor's office.